Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. I'm sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take a measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today, we'll be talking to Nadja, who is a Psych nurse practitioner. Currently, she is working as a contractor 1 day a week and also owns a hybrid Psych practice that she does 3 days a week. She started her practice a year and a half ago, and so far, it is doing good. She is needing assistance with marketing and how to scale her practice. Hey, Nadja, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Justin, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for hopping on here. So bring us up to speed with where you're at. So you started this practice about a year and a half ago, and you've been a Psych NP. So just kind of bring us up to speed with your experience as a nurse practitioner and how you got started.
Sure. Okay, so I've been a psychiatric practitioner for about 9 years now. I graduated in 2013. I had started with outpatient clinic for about a year, and then I started working with a psychiatrist for about 4 years. We did inpatient and outpatient. I worked his clinic as well as rounding for him on inpatient units. So I did that. We also did some substance recovery, residential treatment for a while. And after about 4 years, I left the psychiatrist. I got pregnant, needed to slow it down. So I went to outpatient day programs, PHP, IOP clinic for about 3 years. So I did that for a while, contracted 1099. And last year around May, well, what I did initially, I dropped down to a couple days a week, transitioned out completely by July of last year, started working my practice. I actually ended up picking up 2 other contracts because I realized that income wasn't coming in quickly enough. And so anyway, here I am today. I'm down to 3 days a week, my own practice, 1 day a week contracting. And here we are. It's going pretty decently.
Okay. Your contractor job is what right now?
I contract 1 day a week with a community health center. So I do the psychiatric services for them.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's just general psych, just kind of whatever needs to be done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And then your practice, you do 3 days a week. So what are you focusing on in terms of your practice goes?
So I wouldn't say I specifically have any kind of niche, but most of my clients is depression, anxiety, bipolar disorders. I don't have a lot of acute like psychosis or schizophrenia or anything. There may be a little bit of substance abuse in there, but mostly stable as far as that is concerned, because most of my clients are working class. They have insurance. I do accept commercial insurances, like about 5 of them. I don't do Medicare, Medicaid, but I do accept those, about 5 commercial insurances. It seems to work as far as the referrals and, whatnot.
Okay. So the majority of your income is from insurance then?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. How did you get away with not being able to credential, with Medicaid and Medicare? I know that a lot of insurance companies, they won't basically allow you to private credential unless you're credentialed with Medicaid. Like, how did you get around that, or was there much of an issue with it?
Well, I am independently. My MPI is a network. I didn't realize that. So I had been credentialed with Medicare, Medicaid before under my own MPI because I worked in a lot of companies that accepted Medicare and Medicaid. But and let me tell you what happened. Actually, I credentialed my business, but I decided after a while, I hadn't had any Medicare, Medicaid patients. I decided to opt out.
Okay.
So I didn't want to deal with the with the insurance, with the government insurance thing. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna opt out of that, take what I have here. And so that's kind of where I ended up.
I got you. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah. Okay. So how would you rate your practice then? So how's it going for you? Are you able to make a decent living out of it, or how's it going?
Mm, I would say so. Where I find myself right now is I feel like it's making decent money, but I feel like I'm relying too heavily on the business income personally. So I probably should be, I may need to keep my contract a little bit longer. I may need to make a little bit more on the side. But what happened was a few months in, so I started up about 3 months in, I started covering about 3,000 a month. So the practice was paying for itself within a short period of time.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm probably around between 8 and 10 grand a month. I'm probably close to about 9 grand a month with just the business on its own, just the clinic by itself. It costs to run. My expenses in the business are probably 2 to 3 thousand per month, and that's with loans that I took out. Also with a VA, virtual assistant that I have through a company that I pay for monthly, and it's running about $700-800 a month because I'm only paying for the time that I'm using.
Okay.
And along with my EHR and all the extra stuff.
So you're making $6,000-7,000 a month is about what you're making.
Right.
For 3 days a week. And is that like 3 8 hour, or is that 3 10 hours? I mean, how much time are you putting into this?
Patient time is only about 6 hours. I run patients from 9 to 4.
Okay.
That allows me to, take my son to school and, get off in time and also do any paperwork I need to do after work. I probably stay here to about 5, maybe about an hour after. But patient time is about 6 hours a day.
Okay. So you're putting less than 30 hours a week into this.
Yeah, basically, if you're talking about just patient care.
Right.
Yes. But I'm
Right.
also my own biller and I'm also doing, outside things.
I got you. Okay.
For the practice.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still not bad, 30, 35 hours a week, making
No.
7,000. I mean, that's not bad, really. I mean, it could be a hell of a lot worse. Not bad. It's pretty decent. And then the 1099 job you got, I'm assuming you make, a few extra bucks there. So you're doing
about
okay.
about $800. I get about $110 an hour for about I probably average around 8 to 9 hours a week on that. So
I got
around
you.
$800-900 for that 4 weeks, 4 days a month. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's another $3,000 or $4,000 there. So you're financially pretty okay, and you're only doing it, and you only got a 4-day work week, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't feel like I'm financially okay. That's why,
Okay.
that's why I'm like, I don't know, and I don't trust it. Another thing is, I hired a biller. I got rid of the biller after about 2.5-3 months, like literally, because they didn't just seem to understand the fact that I wanted verifications done. And I wanted to know exactly what the patient owed on the front end, because that's what I've been doing for myself. I just wanted to give it to somebody else. They weren't really doing that very well the first couple months. And I'm like, okay, well, y'all not doing what I need you to do. Y'all want a percentage? Like, no, this is not working. So, and I don't trust a lot of people. So I need to let it go. And I don't want to let it go. If I could let it go, I could actually probably see more patients.
Right. Well, I mean, as a nurse practitioner, you make money seeing patients, right? So,
right.
Yeah. If you're spending a lot of time doing a lot of that back end stuff, in terms of the billing goes and whatnot, and you feel like you're kind of, eating up your time doing that administrative stuff when you could be seeing patients instead, then yeah, it's probably not a bad idea to, outsource to a decent billing company. But they do take a percentage, I know if you use Buffalo Billing, our preferred vendor, they're going to charge 5%, which, isn't terrible.
No, it's not bad.
It's not bad, and they seem pretty knowledgeable about it. Yeah. So, it's 5% there. How much time a week do you think it would save you if you had an outside biller doing this for you?
Each day, I probably spend maybe an hour on just going back and looking through the EOBs and making sure people's payments that, nobody overpaid and that I don't, somebody's not owing this or that, communicating with patients regarding their account, things like that. So I don't spend a whole lot of time doing it because I spend time on the front end before I see the patient, making sure that the copay is correct, out of pockets, deductibles, all that stuff. I try to make sure that's done on the front end. So each day, probably about an hour. But then on Fridays, I usually go back and I probably spend a couple of hours making sure all that's together. So 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 hours in a week.
Well, that's not that bad.
Something like that.
Well,
it's not terrible.
Yeah,
I just rather let it go.
I mean, that'd be an extra 5 hours of patient time. I mean, Do you see what, 8 to 10 patients in that time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Average reimbursement for each visit is what?
About, let's see, if I'm coding, my average is about 214 to 214 90833. It's probably about 100 to 150, 130, something like that. 100 to 150
I
follow up.
got you. Let's quantify this a little bit. So if you could see patients for another 5 to 6 hours a week and you had someone else doing the billing for you, okay, in that 5 or 6 hours, you should be able to make, I'm going to estimate, almost close to $1,000 in billing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. And so over a period of a month, that's going to be an extra $4,000 in revenue. Now, if you are right, so if you are generating, let's say we can get you up, an extra $4,000 a month. Now your net revenue coming in from your billings are going to be close to, between $13,000 and $14,000 based off what you have now, because you make about 9 to 10 now. So if we add another 4 to it, 13 to 14. And so if you had a medical billing company coming in here and doing this for you and charging 5%, you're only looking at paying them $700, $800 a month. And now you're right. And now you're generating another $3,200 a month in income revenue because now you have that extra saved time. So in my opinion, that's a good investment. It's a good return on investment. That's basically a 4x return on your money. You're not going to be able to find you're not going to be able to find a 4x return anywhere right now. Like that's a pretty good return on investment. So I think it's a pretty solid point. I think that you need to make that a priority then.
Okay. So billing.
Yeah. But make sure you use that time to see more patients though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So how far out are you booking out right
now? Maybe a few weeks. The new patients, probably a few weeks. Follow-ups, I can probably get them in within a week.
I got
the next, like the following week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have an extra 5 to 6 hours of patient time a week, now you're going to be booking out, a week ahead, maybe. So that should open that up and you're going to be able to get busier. Yeah. So yeah, I think you should make that a priority. That extra 6 hours of time, do you want to include that in the days that you work now, or do you want to maybe do like a half day, another day?
Yeah. So I was considering, I'm actually at the point of I'm about to drop my last contract. And I was going to use some of that time to see patients, at least a half day on that Thursday when I'm over there. Usually I see a half day of patients and then, fill the other time with patients during the rest of the week. So that's kind of what I was looking at. But thing is, I would use the whole day. I'm considering using that whole day, but I'm working on a real estate license.
Okay.
And I'm trying to keep a little time available so I can do my classes and finish those up. And so I'm probably doing too many things at one time, but I wanted to do that. That's all I wanted to do.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, I think it's a good idea to diversify a little bit outside of medicine and healthcare. In my opinion, I do some real estate, some property management, some other things as well. Like I like to not have all my eggs in one basket. You know what I mean? So
yes.
Yeah. So I say go for it. I mean, I'm all on board with that.
Yeah. Trying to balance everything out.
Yeah.
That's
what
I'm doing.
Now, if you give up
what do you think though? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, well, if you give up that 1099 job and you fill in that time seeing patients, it sounds like you're going to make about the same amount of money. So I don't think you're going to make a whole lot more. You'll make about the same amount.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it make sense because I know that my time to see patients is limited. So I was wondering, at what point do you decide to add another nurse practitioner, like production based, to have someone else to take on new patient?
I mean, I think if you're scheduling out 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance, I think it's probably time to bring on someone else if you don't want to work more.
Yeah. So that's the issue. The issue. I'm like, okay, I have 3 licenses. I really am not using the other 2 right now. I want to maximize that, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't really want to work more than that. 4 days, probably 3.5, 4 days a week.
Right.
So
I don't blame you.
That's not.
I mean,
so that's the thing.
Any nurse practitioner can work 70, 80 hours a week and absolutely kill themselves, but make a shit ton of money. But what kind of life is that?
Nothing.
It's nothing, right. It doesn't I wouldn't either. There's time and dollars, basically. How much time do you have to invest in your business to get the maximum return, right?
Yes.
And so many people just work in their business and they end up becoming a slave to their own business that they're not necessarily an entrepreneur anymore. They're just self-employed. Like they're just employed by their business. They're a slave to it. So they have to work to make money. and you lose
Mhm.
time, right? So time is the most precious resource. You only
Yeah.
have so much of it. As you get older,
Right.
the valuable it is, right? So I say that if you don't want to work anymore, then don't work anymore. I don't blame you. I'm in the same boat. I don't want to see any more patients. Like I just don't, you know?
I
Right.
love them, but I know that that's limited, and I don't want to burn out, and I want to
Right.
continue to love my clients. But
Exactly. Exactly. Like I was offered there's a methadone clinic in town, and I was doing their Suboxone
oh,
program for a while. And I guess there's a way now that nurse practitioners in some states can be the medical director of a methadone clinic. And so
hmm,
so they wanted me to do that. And it was going to require about 15, 20 hours a week. And they were going to pay me like
hmm,
$150 an hour. And
hmm.
I turned it down. I was like, I don't want to work more. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
That
Yeah.
was good
So
money, but it's not worth it. It's
it's
not.
not worth it. Right. So I think that maybe hiring another nurse practitioner right now versus you spending more time might not be a bad idea.
Hmm. Okay. I think I have some anxiety about being able to, make sure that I can support the nurse practitioner. Of course, they're being paid based on productivity. And I had to figure out what's best, as far as the contracted rate, or a percentage or how that should work.
So,
But I want to make sure I can fill their schedules too, So I'm like, okay, I need
right.
to be marketing effective to do that.
The person you hire needs to be aware that it might take a few months to really build up, that patient census.
Hmm.
So they need to come into this knowing that it's more of a PRN part-time thing at first. Okay.
Okay.
If they're not on board with that, don't hire them. Just be
Right.
blatantly honest with them. Like, I have patients for you and we'll slowly ramp up your schedule over 3 months. But I need someone, who's going to help me grow and be okay being
Yeah.
patient for a few months. Like you need to make sure that's painfully clear to them. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. If they're not aligned with you, don't hire them. Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, pay them 100% production and it's no risk for you. Okay. If
Yeah.
you're paying them
Yeah.
100% production, there's no risk on your end here. All right. So, in
Got it.
terms of how to pay them, whatever you think is fair,
Hmm.
I think 50% is fair. If you want to give them 50% of collected revenue or pay
Hmm.
them just a flat fee per patient, those would be the two
Yeah.
models that I would go with.
Right. I think the flat fee would be easier to manage for
Right.
me. I think that would
Okay.
work.
So then a typical follow up takes how long?
30 minutes.
30
For
minutes.
me, I give myself 30 minutes, but that's with completion of the chart billing. I do
Everything.
all that within 30
Right.
minutes.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just say 30 minutes then. And how much does that typically
Mhm.
reimburse? Just a follow up?
100 to 150, sometimes 160, 180. It just depends on the insurance.
Okay.
Average, though, I would say, let's see, about 100 and I would say 130 average, depending anywhere from a 99213 only to a 992140833, 99215. It could be probably average of about, I'll say 130, 120.
Okay.
What about 130?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you paid them $60 for a follow up, I think that's fair. If they do
You
two
think
falls,
so?
if they're doing two falls an hour, that's $120 an hour. It's good money.
Well, yeah, that's about average. That's right for contract. That's about average.
Right.
120. That's
120.
even more than average.
That's right. That's a
100 is probably about average.
right. That's
Yeah.
above average. $120 an hour is
Right.
good money. Pay them $60 for follow
Yeah.
ups. And then for the new patients, how
Mhm.
much does that typically reimburse? And how long does that take? 60 minutes?
I do 60. I do 75 actually. I do 75 minutes, but that's because I'm doing billing and I'm collecting the co-pays and co-insurances also at the time of the visit. So actually, it'll probably take about 60 minutes. I give
Yeah.
myself 75, but
Okay. Well,
60 either way. It still reimburses about, let's see, 180. It could be anywhere from 140 to 200, 225, so it just depends. So average, I would say about 180.
okay. So pay them $100 for the new patient. They make a little bit more than
Hmm.
you, but that's fine. You'll
Hmm.
basically recoup that cost on follow ups and whatnot. So if you pay them
Okay.
that, they're going to average between 100 and $120 an hour. That's good money for, most nurse practitioners. Okay.
Yeah.
Pay them
Mhm.
1099 and just be done with it. So just slowly build up their schedule. Like, so if you're serious about this, I would say avoid putting more hours into your business for yourself right now and go ahead
Yeah.
and try to find someone else ASAP and just start putting patients on them.
Ooh, okay.
It's really not that scary bringing on another nurse practitioner. I mean, I was kind of worried about it as well, but at the end of the day, it's their
Mhm.
liability. as long as they're not
Yeah.
an idiot and you're doing some chart reviews
Oh
and
no.
you agree with what they're doing, then I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I'll breathe and, and just get
yeah,
it. Okay.
exactly. And let them make their schedule. Like, just their availability. If they're
Yes.
available on Friday afternoons, then Friday afternoons it is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
works.
Any
Yeah.
questions about that?
No, not really.
No. Okay.
No, that's fine. I actually have the contract you sent me like a couple years ago. I think I like put something in a thread a couple years ago, and you actually sent me the contract. I still have it.
Yeah, that
So yeah,
1099
still have
contract. Yeah,
it.
just use that. Just use that.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So marketing. You're going to
Hmm.
bring another nurse practitioner on board. You're going to want to try to fill up their schedule. Now, if you don't want to work more, then
Right.
you need to be somewhat cautious about marketing too much, because you don't want to market and then not be able to deliver the service that you're marketing. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Right. So you need to be
Yeah.
a little cautious here on how much money you spend marketing and what you do. And it's ultimately going to
Right.
be up to this 1099 nurse practitioner that you hire. If they only want to work 6 hours a week, then,
Hmm.
you're going to have to hire another nurse
So
practitioner if you want to keep marketing.
right.
Yeah.
So right now, this is what I did. There's a company that specializes in healthcare market for any kind of provider. So they specialize in healthcare. They basically redid my website. They do the SEO stuff. They do all that. And right now, I actually have several free months because I referred somebody, but I've had 2 months free up front. Referred somebody, got another 2 months free. So credit for another 2 months. So I have 4 months free basically up front to kind of test it out. And I've already started getting patients from them. I started this about a month ago. So I've started getting patients. It looks like it's working pretty decently. They collect reviews, manage their reputation stuff. They do all that and some extra things. They write blogs and all this. So I'm paying them once it starts. I'm paying them about $800 a month to do that. And I'm getting right now, I've already gotten from them in the past week. Each week, it looks like I'm getting from them directly about five, five referrals, maybe three of them we end up processing. They end up coming on 3 or 4 patients. So it looks like it's starting to, might build up nicely. My
Okay.
Google page is pretty active. A lot of people coming from Google. So not spending a whole lot, but I think it may work.
All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and that other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode. That's costing you $800 a month?
It will begin to cost me about $800 a month in about the next 3 months.
Okay.
So 3 months up front.
So if they're providing you, 3 to 4 actual converting patients a week, then, that's about a dozen patients a month. A dozen patients, let's just say average reimbursement for the new patient is, $180.
$180.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about $2,100 a month. And so you're paying them $800 for a return of $2,100.
Yeah.
So
13.
That's a pretty decent return on investment.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's not bad. Right.
And I'm expecting to ramp up over time. We'll probably start ramping up.
Yeah. And, once you start getting more patients, word of mouth starts happening, you start getting more reviews on your Google business listing, these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, it'll grow more than that. You know what I mean? So
right.
I don't necessarily have anything against you paying these people $800 a month to do all that for you if it's actually generating paying patients.
Yes.
Could you generate more money just, doing some Google ads yourself and just getting lots of Google reviews and just trying to rank really high and writing the blog post yourself, you could probably do it yourself and probably have the same results or maybe even better results. But I think
Do I have time for that?
right, exactly. For the amount of time it would take you, I think that you're worth more than that $800. Right.
I think so. It's like I'm not a social media person. Like I'm not into it
Right.
at all.
Right.
So,
Yeah, you seeing patients for 5 or 6 hours is going to generate $800. Your time's better spent seeing patients. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I honestly don't have a problem with it. I mean, if it's working, I say just continue using them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another thing. So I was going to ask you another thing. So about like cash, because I know you advocate for cash niche services. I'm trying to figure out in Psych anything that we could potentially add as a cash-based service that may be helpful that goes along with Psych. So I'm just trying to figure out other things that I could add for as cash-based services that would fit there. So I'm not dependent on encounters all the time with insurances.
Right, right. So you can do a few different things. You could do like a concierge psych service, for some of the people who, have a lot of excess cash. They pay you 150 or $200 a month or whatever for like an all-inclusive concierge psych package. Maybe like that, that's one visit a month, some emails or some texting or whatever. You basically create a package and it's just a concierge-based model. Yeah. So you could do that. You could also do some of these niche services. I mean, I know lots of psych NPs that offer hormone replacement therapy, some functional medicine stuff. Like, I mean, it's within your scope as long as you're doing it for a mental health need.
Okay. I thought about weight loss, about adding weight loss to the services that I have. Because obviously, a lot of my clients have issues with that, or they're, possibly seeing somebody else, the PCP, to do that. And that's part of the issue many a time with their weight and their depression, their weight, their thyroid, and their,
Right. You're treating the underlying issue. Their obesity is causing a lot of their depression and anxiety problems, right? So you're treating the underlying problem. That's within your scope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that may be something to consider.
Unless your state specifically states that it is not. Okay. Each state's, nursing regulations and whatnot, and the scope and how it's defined, a little bit different. But there are plenty of boards of nursing who have said that psych NPs can do that kind of thing as long as it's for a mental health need.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's something else to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. That's another little cash-based thing you could do. I think maybe focusing more on maybe the concierge stuff might be worthwhile and see how that goes.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, well, that would require some time and some training. And, I'm like, so now this, that means I'm considering taking on more patients. I think I'll do better probably just focusing on the psychiatric part. And yeah, you're right, taking on just, those clients or I have some clients that don't have insurance. I have a few that don't have insurance or don't want to, deal with it. So that, that would make sense as far as a subscription. I've been considering that also for them.
Yeah, for sure. And, there's always people out there that have money that really like to have a concierge kind of base thing.
Yeah. I don't mind doing that. I'm set up for that. I mean, my patients are probably kind of spoiled because they have insurance and we do insurance, but I also use Spruce to communicate back and forth with them. So they text and they contact us, in between appointments. They may have, if it's a small thing, question, I can answer quickly. I, don't have to have a whole visit for it and I'll do it. So they're kind of in that mode already.
Sure. Yeah. Is there much of a market in your area for do you have higher class people that you think would utilize this?
I'm in Texas and I'm in Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I'm in a very rapidly growing suburb and there's a lot of business owners. There's a lot of working class people, but there's a lot of small business owners, and people who don't have insurance, who provide their own insurances, and they do. And they're willing to pay cash. So yes, I do believe there's definitely a market.
Oh, there's definitely a market. Oh, in Dallas, absolutely. There's a lot of money in Dallas. Now, to market a cash-based thing like that, you really have to start following a lot of the principles I talk about in the courses and on the website and whatnot. Like you really have to identify a target market and really market to a specific group of people because, just marketing to just the general population for cash-based psych is not going to work. Yeah.
Right.
So you really need to identify a specific target market for that. And you're going to need to tailor some ads for that and just kind of broadcast it on social media and on Google and whatnot, have a page designed for it and just kind of see how it works.
Okay. Now this social media thing. So do I maybe I use the people that I have now to do that. I may check with them on that and see if we can
Yeah, see if they can
do
help you out.
something.
The trick
Yeah.
is that you need to like have, like I said, have a very, very specific target demographic. Like you just can't
Okay.
advertise on Facebook to people in the Dallas, area between the ages
No.
of 30 and 55. That's not going to work. Like you really, really need a very specific group of people.
Okay.
So someone you can relate to, someone you can
Oh,
speak to.
well, I think my practice is mostly made up of women, probably between the ages of 30 and 50.
Okay.
Probably mostly parents, mothers. They are working class women or business owners.
So then,
We need to check
okay,
on it.
right. So
Yeah.
you're getting more specific here and you want to be as specific as possible. So
hmm
women between the ages of 30 and 50 who are parents,
hmm
who are, working females who have children, maybe working professionals who own businesses, that sort of thing. You're getting to a specific demographic here. All right. So you need to tailor your ads to those people. Okay.
Okay.
Are you working all the time, stressed out? Do you need
hmm
one-on-one, my mental health, psychiatric care, blah, 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 stuff like that?
hmm
Speak directly to them.
Yes.
And yeah, if I saw that ad, it wouldn't apply to me. I'd be like, what the hell is this? Why is this on my feed? I would just scroll past it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I mean. You got to speak directly to them. And creating ads on social media or even Google and having that as a demographic should be fairly easy to do.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Google Ads.
Like I said, your first step here is to really have an identified target market.
Okay.
That's the foundation of a marketing strategy. You have to have a target market. If you haven't identified your target demographic, then, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I work on that in Google Ads. I'll try to at least do some of those myself.
Yeah, for sure. It's super
Okay.
simple. There's really nothing to it. Yeah. Yeah. So you could build that up, have a little cash based kind of thing going on and then start filling up the other nurse practitioner schedule for the insurance based stuff. And I think that over a
hmm
period of the next, over the next year or so, I think that you're going to find yourself growing very, very quickly. I really do.
All right. I think so. I think I have a good foundational practice. I just need to implement those things. And
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure you're right. It'll grow.
Yeah. As you grow, though, your expenses do go up. I mean, you're going to have a receptionist at some
Yes.
point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to,
Yeah. I'm looking at that too. Because I'm like the virtual assistant is great. Like she is awesome. Like she is probably the reason why for my patients have a good relationship with her and when people call and they talk to her, that she converts really well. So, I have that, but I only have her for the hours that she's working with me because she also works with other providers during the other times. As I grow, I would like to have somebody more full time.
Do you see a lot of patients in office or is it mostly telemed?
It's probably about 80% telemed at this point. I run a small space within a counseling office. So I get referrals from them. So we have some local people who, come in because they are also clients of the counseling center. So I get probably one in a day. I may see one or none out of the about 8 patients that I average in a day. About 8 patients in a day. I probably average. Maybe one of those might be in person, and the rest of them probably telemed.
Okay, so you could probably keep with the virtual assistant. Does this person
Mm-hmm.
handle any billing for you? Would they collect insurance cards and that kind of thing as well? Or
They do the verifications on the front end for me. So when we get a patient, they'll go in and do the the verification of the insurance. I have a
okay,
system for that. So they'll go in
okay.
and do that. And I collect the copay, the co-insurances or whatnot after the visit or before the visit, after the visit, during that session.
So how are you going to have the nurse practitioner you hired do that? Like that's what I'm thinking here.
Right.
Like
I
you
don't want
really
her to
need
have to do or him or her. Yeah, I don't
right,
want them to. So I need
right,
to bring somebody, or have the
right.
virtual assistant do that. You're right.
Exactly,
So I think it's just
exactly.
hard for me to let go of anything involving the money part.
It's hard. That's a difficult thing to do as an entrepreneur, especially one that's doing it themselves like you. I mean, hey, listen, I was the exact same way the first year, year or two in my businesses as well. Like I did not want to give over that power to anybody else. But to grow
Yeah,
your practice, you're just going to have to.
yeah,
You, as the business owner, you're going to have to just keep a very close eye on the finances and make sure it makes sense. If you start seeing some discrepancies, then then you investigate it. But overall, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it's insurance, so like people aren't going to be really stealing that from you. You know what I mean?
no, yeah, not that part. So yeah,
Right.
this is the co-insurance, co-pays, and making sure they're correct up front because I don't want a lot of back end work when it comes to collecting the wrong amount and then having to go back and fix it constantly. I don't like that. So the verifications, make sure those are on point. Because I go back, I have a habit of going back and check the verifications myself before I see the patient that day. So that's another thing. But that's only with the new patient. I mean, with the follow-ups, I can go in the system. The system goes back. I can see it in the system from the previous visit, and I can kind of just follow along.
Right.
Okay,
right.
this is what it was last time. Like, this is what the insurance is. Like, okay. So yeah, so it's been pretty decent with that.
I mean, you're probably gonna have to do a little bit of this yourself, at first, but you really need to make it another priority to, try to start having someone else do that for you.
Right.
The whole point of this is for your business to work for you, and so you don't really have to think about it.
Right. That's I just need somebody. I need to probably do a little bit more training with my virtual assistant or the person that's going to actually be there doing it full time.
100%.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's just that's going to increase your expenses as well. So you should be okay with that. But hiring these people to do a lot of this stuff for you, it's going to decrease your profits. But what it should do over a period of 3 to 6 months is that you should then get to a point where you're at now. And then after that, it should start growing more. But you're going to be spending less time for it. So it actually becomes more valuable, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's probably about it.
Okay, cool. We'll like to end the episode with you asking me a question. Do you have any questions for me?
Let's see. I was supposed to think about this before we got on the phone, but now I think I've heard so many episodes. I actually listened to most of the podcasts. I was looking forward to every week. I look for it on Wednesday or Thursday. I'll see what y'all talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't.
If you don't, that's fine.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I've listened to you long enough that I kind of know.
Yeah. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. So listen, I think that you have a pretty good business here. I think that a few little tweaks to a couple things will really get this thing streamlined. I feel like in the next year or two, you really should have a business that's, paying you a very healthy 6-figure income, and you're only having to put 20, 30 hours a week into it. Like I think you're going to be able to get there as long as you just, let go and give the power to some other people, have another nurse practitioner there, have this VA or receptionist be able to do a lot of this billing and stuff for you. Maybe consider hiring a billing company. I think once you let go of some of this responsibility, have other people do it for you, you're going to get back a lot more time, and you're going to be making, $150,000, $200,000 a year for, working 20 hours a week. This gets pretty good.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah, sounds great, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's get started now.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So, all right. Well, cool. Well, listen, if you ever want to do a follow-up, you got my email, let me know.
Yeah. All right, Justin. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. No problem. Take care. All right. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
All right. I hope everyone enjoyed the episode with Nadja. She has a pretty decent little business going here. She's really built the foundations of it. She has patients coming in. She's generating, almost $10,000 a month in revenue. She's able to pay herself $7,000 a month for, 30, 35 hours a week, which really isn't that bad. I think for her to grow this business, she's really going to just need to let go. Okay. Sometimes it's hard as an entrepreneur to just let go of some of the responsibility. I had this same problem. Multiple entrepreneurs that I know, business owners have this problem. For you to grow and scale a business, you need to just let go, okay? Let go of that responsibility. Give it to someone else. It's very, very difficult to grow a business and have you operate 100%. You are 100% in control of everything, okay? You gotta let go of the control. You have to as a business owner. No one wants to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, all right? That's no way to live. The whole point of a business is that it works for you, okay? You don't want to be a slave to your business. And the only way to get there is to let go of the control. I think if she does this, then she will have a very, very nice business that'll work for her and will pay her a very healthy 6-figure income. I really do. All right. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2023 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without without our written permission.